He was lying on the cold ground, blood on his shirt, eyes wide open, like he was staring at the sky, but he wasn't breathing. This was Jeremy Diaz, and 5 minutes earlier, he was just walking home. You're watching an unbelievable true story, where we only tell real stories. Not to scare you, but to prepare you. It happened in San Antonio, Texas, on a hot summer night, 2021. Jeremy had just finished work. He cut through the alley, like he always did. But someone was waiting for him. Someone he thought was a friend. That's the scary part. 80% of attacks come from people the victim already knows. And 1 in 4 men will be assaulted in their lifetime. Jeremy never saw it coming. No warning. No chance to fight back. There's a course for men in the description and pinned comment. It's made by real combat trainers. Shows you how to stop threats fast, how to fight with purpose, and how to survive when someone bigger, stronger, comes after you. No gym, no fluff, just survival. Now stay with me, because we're about to break down who set Jeremy up, how they almost got away with it, and the one small move that changed everything. Let's get into the full story. Now let me tell you, Jeremy wasn't supposed to die that night. He was only 24 years old, a young man with dreams. Dreams of moving out of the old apartment, getting his own car, and maybe one day starting a family. But life don't always wait on dreams. Sometimes it cuts you off right in the middle. That night, Jeremy had just finished his shift at a restaurant. It was hot, Texas heat, the kind that makes your shirt stick to your back. It was close to midnight, but the air still felt heavy, like the day refused to let go. Jeremy clocked out, said goodbye to his coworkers, and started walking home. He didn't live far, maybe 10 minutes away. Most nights, he cut through the alley behind the gas station. It was quicker. Darker, yes, but quicker. Now here's the thing. Jeremy trusted that alley. He walked it so many times, he thought of it like a shortcut made just for him. He didn't know somebody else had been watching. Somebody who knew his routine. Somebody who was waiting. He never made it to his door. Let's pause here. I want you to feel this. A young man walking home, thinking about sleep, maybe food, maybe his girl texting him. And then, bam, his whole life stops in a dirty alley. The police said they got a call around 12:30 a.m. A neighbor heard a noise. Not a scream, not even a fight, just a thud, like a bag hitting the ground. When officers showed up, they found Jeremy. Face up, still, wallet missing, phone cracked beside him, and blood running across the sidewalk. That's the picture that burned in their minds. A boy, barely grown, taken out by somebody who wanted what he had, or maybe had something against him. Now let's talk about Jeremy as a person. Because if you only hear young man killed in alley, you might think it's just another story. But this was somebody's son, somebody's brother, somebody's best friend. Jeremy was the kind of guy who laughed loud. Neighbors said they could hear him on his porch joking with friends. He had this big, sharp laugh, like he was holding back nothing. He worked long hours, but he still found time for family. Took care of his little sister, helped his mom with rent when he could. And he loved sneakers. Man, Jeremy kept his shoes clean. White Jordans, black Nikes, you name it. He might not have had much, but when he walked down the street, he looked fresh. That's what makes this hurt. He wasn't in some gang. He wasn't out there looking for trouble. He was just trying to live. And trouble found him anyway. The night of July 14th, Jeremy wore a red t-shirt and black jeans. Same sneakers he always loved. Police believed he was jumped in the alley. One or more attackers. Quick, violent. Left him with nothing but silence. No cameras in that alley. No witnesses close enough to see. Just Jeremy and whoever wanted him gone. When the news hit, the community broke down. People asked why. Why him? Why like this? San Antonio saw crime before, but this was different. It felt close. It felt unfair. Jeremy's mom spoke to the news. She said, "My son wasn't perfect, but he didn't deserve to die like that. Nobody's child deserves that." Now here's the cold part. According to the CDC in 2022, 1 in 4 men are victims of intimate partner violence in their lifetime, and many more face street violence. But men don't talk about it. They walk home at night thinking, "I'll be fine." Jeremy thought the same. But even strong men, even good men, can be caught off guard. That's why in the description and pinned comment, we added a free self-defense course for men. It's built by real trainers. It's about fighting with purpose, stopping a threat fast, surviving. 1 hour that could save your life. Back to Jeremy. The police started digging. First step, his phone. Though it was cracked, they pulled the last messages. He texted his friend at 12:05 a.m. Said, "Almost home." That was the last thing he ever wrote. 12 minutes later, he was gone. They checked his bank account. No new charges. Checked his job. Nothing strange. It looked like a robbery. But the problem? Who robs a man and leaves his phone? Who takes a wallet but not the shoes on his feet? It didn't make sense. Detectives thought maybe it wasn't just about money. Maybe it was personal. Somebody who knew Jeremy. Somebody who wanted to send a message. Now, I've seen pain before, but what his family went through, that's the kind that breaks your back. His mom had to see her baby in a morgue. Cold table, cold light, cold truth. She said, he left for work and never came back. That's every parent's nightmare. Your child walks out the door and doesn't walk back in. His little sister? She couldn't sleep. Kept waiting for his laugh. Kept thinking she'd hear his shoes in the hallway. But the house stayed quiet. Too quiet. San Antonio police pushed hard. They canvassed the neighborhood. Knocked on doors. Asked about the alley. Somebody must have seen something. But fear makes people blind. Nobody wanted to talk. Nobody wanted trouble on their doorstep. But trouble was already there. It had Jeremy's name on it. The police had a body. They had blood. They had pain in the streets. But they didn't have answers. Detectives worked the case like it was personal. Because in San Antonio, everybody knew it could have been their son too. One wrong step. One dark alley. That's all it takes. The first lead came from a broken camera near the gas station. The footage was grainy, blurry, but you could see shapes. 2 figures walking in the alley just before midnight. Then another figure, Jeremy. 3 shapes became one. Then the screen cut out. That was it. That was all they had. They took the video to Jeremy's family. His mom cried. She said, "That's him. That's my boy." Her hand shook so bad she could barely point at the screen. But who were the other 2? That was the question. The detectives started asking around. Friends, neighbors, co-workers, who didn't like Jeremy, who had beef with him. And then a name kept coming back. Carlos. Carlos wasn't some stranger. He grew up 2 blocks from Jeremy. Played ball with him as kids. Knew his mom, his sister, his whole family. But lately, things changed. Carlos dropped out of school. Started hanging with a rough crew. Word on the street was he was into drugs, money schemes, quick hustles. And here's the kicker. Carlos used to work at the same restaurant as Jeremy. They weren't tight anymore, but they saw each other. And sometimes, tension was in the air. One co-worker told police Carlos was jealous. Jeremy was doing better. He kept saying Jeremy thought he was better than everyone else. Now, jealousy? That's poison. And poison spreads. Detectives pulled Carlos in for questioning. Sat him down under the bright light. Asked where he was that night. Carlos smirked. Said he was home. Said he didn't know nothing about no alley, no blood, no Jeremy. But here's the problem with lies. They leave cracks. And when detectives checked his phone records, they found calls, late-night calls, right around the time Jeremy was killed. Calls to a number linked to another man in the neighborhood. That man's name was Rico. Now Rico wasn't a friend. He was trouble. Been in and out of jail since he was 16. Fights, robberies, drugs, you name it. And guess who he was seen with earlier that week? Carlos. The picture started to build. Carlos and Rico together. Jeremy walking home. 2 figures waiting in the alley. It was looking ugly. Meanwhile, Jeremy's family was breaking down. His mom barely slept. She cooked meals she couldn't eat. She stared at his empty chair. She told the news, "I don't want revenge. I want justice. I want to know why." That's a heavy question. Why? Why would somebody kill a boy for nothing? Why would a so-called friend turn into an enemy? Police knew they had to move fast. Because killers don't just sit still. They hide, they run, or they do it again. A week after the murder, detectives caught a break. They found Jeremy's wallet. It wasn't in the alley. It wasn't in the trash. It was in a dumpster across town. Inside, his ID, his cards. But the cash? Gone. Fingerprints on the wallet matched Rico. That was the nail. That was the piece they needed. They arrested Rico first. Dragged him in. Sat him down. And Rico, he cracked. He told police it wasn't supposed to go that far. We just wanted his money. Carlos said he walks that alley every night. Easy target. Quick grab. That's all. But it wasn't all. Because Jeremy fought back. Think about that. A young man, alone, cornered. Two men in the dark. And he still tried to fight. Still tried to protect himself. Rico said Jeremy pushed him. Swung a punch. Then Carlos pulled a knife. One stab. That was it. Jeremy dropped. And they ran. Rico's words hit the air heavy. Detectives wrote every line down. Because once he spoke, the truth was clear. This wasn't just robbery. This was betrayal. Jeremy lost his life to somebody he grew up with. When the police told Jeremy's mom, she almost collapsed. She kept saying, Carlos? No, not him. He ate at my table. He called me Ma. Not him. But it was him. Her son's so-called friend. The boy she once fed. The boy who laughed in her living room. He had a knife in her son's back. That's the kind of pain that leaves a hole you can't fill. The trial came months later. Rico took a deal. Testified against Carlos. Got years in prison. Carlos. He stood in court, head down, not looking at nobody. Jeremy's mom sat in the front row. Tears ran down her face. She whispered, look at me. Look at what you did. But Carlos never raised his eyes. The jury didn't take long. Guilty. Murder. Robbery. 25 years. And when the sentence hit, Jeremy's sister cried out loud. She said, that won't bring him back. She was right. Nothing brings back what's already gone. Now here's the truth. We like to think we know people. We shake hands. We smile. We trust. But most danger comes from the people we already know. According to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, 2019, nearly 50% of violent crimes are committed by someone the victim knows. That's not strangers in the dark. That's friends, family, neighbors. That's Carlos. That's why you gotta learn to see the signs. That's why you gotta be ready. Because sometimes danger don't come wearing a mask. Sometimes it comes wearing a smile. Jeremy's story didn't end in that alley. It lived on in his family's grief, in his mom's broken voice, in his sister's tears, in the sneakers he left behind, still lined up by the door. They keep his memory alive. Every year, on the day he died, they light candles. They pray. They tell stories about his laugh. Because that's all they have now, memories. And that's where we leave it for now. But we're not done. Because what happened after the trial, what the family did to turn their pain into power, that's the part nobody talks about. Stay with me. The next part of Jeremy's story is where grief becomes fire. And where his name, his laughter, gets louder than the silence that took him. The trial was over. Carlos was gone. Rico was gone. But the pain? That stayed. See, prison don't erase the crime. Prison don't bring back the dead. Prison just moves the pieces. The hole in the family? Still there. Jeremy's mom woke up every morning with his name on her lips. Sometimes she called out, thinking he was in the next room. Sometimes she swore she heard his laugh in the backyard. But then she'd open her eyes. And remember, her boy was gone. The house felt heavy. Jeremy's sneakers were still lined up by the door. His red t-shirt still folded on the chair. His phone, cracked, sat on the dresser like it was waiting for him to pick it up. His sister couldn't handle it. She begged her mom to pack it all away. But his mom said no. She said, if I put it away, it's like he was never here. And I won't let the world forget my son. So the house stayed like Jeremy was just out late, just minutes away for walking back in. But he never walked back in. The community didn't forget either. Neighbors started leaving flowers in the alley. Candles. Little notes. Somebody spray painted his name on the wall. Long live Jeremy. And that alley? People stopped using it. Folks said it was cursed now. Too much blood in the dirt. Too much fear in the air. But Jeremy's family? They went back there every week. His mom stood in the spot he fell. She touched the ground and whispered prayers. Because when the world takes your child, you hold on to anything that's left, even cold pavement. Months passed. Life tried to move on. But grief don't keep time. Grief don't follow clocks. Jeremy's sister dropped out of school for a while. She couldn't sit in class hearing kids joke, hearing teachers talk about tomorrow. Her tomorrow was gone. Her brother was gone. Friends told her to come back, to stay busy. But she said, how do you stay busy when your heart is broken? How do you pretend the world is normal? That's the thing about murder. It don't just take one life. It takes pieces of everyone close. But something else started to happen. Anger turned to fire, and fire turned to action. Jeremy's mom started speaking out. She went to churches. She went to schools. She said, "Your friend ain't always your friend. Look close. Pay attention, because my son trusted the wrong person, and it cost him everything." Her words hit hard. People listened, because it wasn't some cop, some stranger telling the story. It was a mom who had blood in her memory and a hole in her heart. She didn't stop there. She started working with groups in San Antonio that helped families of victims. She stood with other moms, other dads, all holding pictures of children gone too soon. Together, they shouted, "Enough. Enough killing. Enough silence. Enough pretending this was normal." And in that moment, Jeremy's name became more than a headline. It became a fight, a reason to speak, a reason to change. Now here's where it gets heavy. You know how I told you earlier? Most violence comes from people we already know? That fact stuck with Jeremy's mom. She said, "If I can stop one child from trusting the wrong friend, I'll keep another mother from standing in my shoes." That's powerful. That's pain turned into purpose. But don't get it twisted, she still cried at night. She still woke up in sweat, hearing his laugh in her dreams. That pain never left, but she used it. Police kept checking in with her too. They said, "Ma'am, we did what we could. We put them away." But she told them, "You didn't put away the problem. You just locked up 2 names. There'll be another Carlos, another Rico, unless something changes." And she was right, because crime ain't just about 2 men. It's about a cycle. Poverty, jealousy, hate, all mixed up like poison in a bottle. And somebody always drinks. Jeremy's friends didn't forget him either. They made shirts with his face. They wrote songs about him. They posted old videos of him laughing, dancing, showing off his sneakers. One video went viral in San Antonio. Jeremy smiling, holding his little sister's hand, walking down the street. No music, no edits, just him being him. And people watched it again and again. Because sometimes you don't need fancy words to remember someone. Sometimes you just need their smile. Here's the realest part of all this. Jeremy didn't do nothing wrong. He wasn't out here robbing. He wasn't out here starting fights. He was just walking home. And still, he died. That's why his story matters. Because if it could happen to him, it could happen to anyone. Your brother, your son, your friend, maybe even you. And that's what keeps me up at night. Not just the crime, but the truth hiding inside it. But the family didn't just stay quiet in grief. They started a scholarship in Jeremy's name, raised money from the community, helped kids who wanted to go to school but didn't have the funds. His mom said, "Jeremy wanted better, so we'll give better to others in his name." That's strength. That's what survival looks like, taking ashes and turning them into seeds. Now, before we go on, I gotta say this again. We added a free self-defense course in the description and pin comment, built by real trainers. For men, it shows how to stop threats fast, protect your space, and fight with purpose. You don't need to be big. You don't need experience, just the will to survive. 1 hour that could save your life. Because Jeremy never got that hour, but maybe you will. The family still visits that alley. Every year, they hold candles. They say prayers. They cry. They laugh, too, remembering the good times. Because grief is heavy, but love is heavier. And love keeps his name alive. Now, let's talk about Jeremy Diaz. June 12, 2019. Bronx, New York, USA. A hot summer night. Sticky air. Sirens screaming somewhere. Jeremy was only 15 years old. Brown skin. Skinny frame. But his smile? Man, it could light up a whole damn block. This story is based on real events reported by police and news sources. He loved basketball. He loved rap battles on the corner with his friends. He dreamed of playing in the NBA. But life didn't give him that chance. Picture this. A small grocery store. Fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. A teenage boy running for his life. Jeremy. Behind him, a pack of gang members. Machetes. Knives. Hate in their eyes. They thought he was someone else. They thought he was a rival. But he wasn't. He was just a kid. Jeremy ran into that store, screaming, "Help! Please help me!" The clerk tried to shut the door, but the gang pushed past. They dragged him out by his shirt. He fought. He kicked. He screamed for his mom. On that sidewalk, under the streetlight, they stabbed him. Again. 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 People watched. Some filmed on their phones. Some cried. Some froze. And Jeremy? He begged. Please, wrong guy. Wrong guy. But they didn't care who Jeremy was. Now let's pause. Jeremy Diaz. 15. A son. A student. A dreamer. He wasn't perfect. He cracked jokes too loud in class. He played ball until the streetlights came on. He stayed out late sometimes. But he wasn't a gangster. He wasn't a killer. He was a boy. The city was alive. It was summer. Music blasting from cars. Fire hydrants spraying kids on the block. But right there, on Bathgate Avenue, the night turned red. Jeremy's blood ran down the sidewalk. Neighbors screamed. Some tried to stop the bleeding with shirts. But it was too much. An ambulance came. Paramedics worked fast. They pressed on his wounds. They shouted medical codes. But Jeremy's eyes? They were fading. At St. Barnabas Hospital, they tried to save him. But at 11:05 p.m., Jeremy Diaz was gone. News broke fast. Teen killed by gang mistaken identity. The city was in shock. The mayor spoke. The police chief called it a tragedy. His mother collapsed when she heard. His father punched a wall. His little sister cried for her big brother. They killed a wrong kid. They killed innocents. NYPD moved quick. They pulled security video. They saw the chase. They saw the attack. One by one, the killers were caught. 17 men, from a gang called the Trinitarios. They thought Jeremy was someone else, but they had the wrong boy. In court, they tried to explain, but what can you say? You killed the wrong kid, that's all. The jury didn't buy excuses. They got life sentences. No mercy. But Jeremy's mother? She didn't get her son back. The world saw the video. It went viral. Hashtag Justice for Junior. That's what they called it. Junior. That was his nickname. Even celebrities spoke out. The city marched for him. Candlelight vigils. Murals on walls. But none of that brought him home. You know what hit hardest? Jeremy was killed in public. On a street full of people. And still it happened. That's the world. Cold. Fast. Dangerous. According to the CDC, 2022, homicide is the third leading cause of death for teenagers in the U.S. Let that sink in. Kids supposed to be playing ball. Instead, they're dying on sidewalks. That's why we added a real self-defense course, made by law enforcement and martial artists. It's in the description and pinned comment. 1 hour that might save your life. Because sometimes, the world don't give you time to run. Jeremy Diaz should be alive today. He should be playing basketball. He should be laughing with his friends. He should be teasing his sister. But instead, he's a mural on a wall, a name on a t-shirt, a hashtag on a screen. And his mom? She still sets a plate for him at dinner. She still talks to his photo at night. She still waits for a knock on the door. But it never comes.